Good evening and welcome to the Burbank Police Commission meeting for Wednesday, June 18th, 2025. I'll make this announcement twice, but I'll start now. For public comment options, to speak during public comment, members of the public may speak for 3 minutes in person in the council chamber, or they may call 818-238-3335. 818-238-3335. Members of the public who attend the meeting in chamber will speak first, followed by those phoning in their comments. And we'll go ahead and start with, we've called to order, and Ms. Nakamura, if we could have our roll call.
Commissioner Chapman?
Here.
Chair Coons?
Here.
Commissioner Elman?
Here.
Commissioner Ferguson is absent. Commissioner Hakobian?
Present.
Commissioner McKenna?
Present.
Commissioner Wenzel?
Present.
Thank you. And I will go ahead and lead us in our flag salute. And as I do this, I just wanted to have us all make sure that kind of we reflect and consider the last 7 words in the pledge this evening. Place your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we will go ahead and go into commission announcements. Item C, commission announcements and reporting out by commissioners and ad hoc subcommittees. And Ann, would you like to start?
I did attend the protest that we had here in Burbank, and I went mostly because I wanted to see and observe, and I was really proud. I was very proud to be a citizen of Burbank because the protesters were obviously peaceful. But there was no garbage left. There was I don't know how many people the police estimated the total at, but my guess 400 or so. But there was no littering. Folks were sharing water. The people driving by were as respectful as they could be, some honking, some just not. But it made me very proud to be a Burbankian.
Ann, thank you. Appreciate that. Mike, you have anything to report out on?
Nothing to add tonight.
Okay, I have nothing to report out on. Mike?
Nothing at the moment.
Okay. Paul?
Yeah, I'd like to say that Ann Womack and I had a meeting with the superintendent, and Ann has already followed up. We're trying to set up a meeting with the new superintendent so that we can hopefully have their participation when we talk about back to school and get their feedback. I had the opportunity to observe the Burbank police response to a group of electric
Oh, do you have a microphone in front of you? There we go.
When we turned it off.
There you
go. Electric bicycles. I was, as always, very impressed with how methodically it was handled, including it appeared things were being written up and vehicles were being put in the back of parents' cars. So they were finding out that these are not allowed on our streets. And also on July 12th, the Kiwanis Gala at the Oklahoma Country Club, we will be honoring our police department and we'll be honoring the fire department. This is a good time of year a good year to honor those who are serving us, especially on the local level. Thank you.
Paul, thank you. Roman, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. No community engagement announcements tonight, but just a reminder that next Thursday night at 4:30, we'll be at the Boys and Girls Club. There'll be the Let's Talk Driving event for the Drive Our Save Lives campaign. So invite the community out, come out, have a wonderful time. It should be a great time.
Really excited about that and really happy to see all the promotion that's out there about
Yeah,
it.
it's
So thank
amazing.
you.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I did want to acknowledge, I want to wish everybody a happy Pride Month. I wanted to wish everybody a happy Juneteenth, and I also wanted to acknowledge National Safety Month for the month of June. So we'll go ahead and move into we're going to go ahead and move into item D, oral communications. And again, for public comment options, to speak during public comment, members of the public may speak for 3 minutes in person or in the council chamber, or they may call 818-238-3335. Members of the public who attend the meeting in chamber will speak first, followed by those phoning in their comments. And do we have any comments from the audience today? No comments from the audience. Do we have any callers?
No calls pending.
Okay, thank you. We will go ahead and move on to item E, which is commission response to public comment. So in case any of you received any comments via email, as well as anything that we didn't hear today, but if you had any email responses, no? Paul, go ahead.
I apologize. I received a faculty member of the New York Film Academy who actually lives on Riverside Drive near the school had sent me a text last night. She was going to let her class out early so she could be here tonight. She's lived on Riverside Drive for a number of years, and she wanted us to know about the increased lack of civility and dangerous driving, not just with people, but it's evident by wildlife being hit on Riverside Drive. So I asked her to come this evening, but she wasn't able to quite get here. So I just want to let know that, and I'm sure the police department will make note of that.
Sure.
Thank you.
And for clarification, Ray, I know that we include emails and public comment here and phone calls. Text can count in that too, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, we will go ahead and move on to item F, which is approval of minutes from the May 21st, 2025 meeting. So if folks have access to that, we can take a look at that. I'm looking for a motion and for a second. I've got a motion from Romick to approve. I have a second from Mike Ellman. Any comments or questions about the minutes? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? No abstentions? All right, they approve unanimously. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and we're moving quickly. We're going to go ahead and move on to item G, which is items of business. And G1 is discussion and recommendations, if applicable, of the year-end review of Police Commission presentations and community activities. There is a document that was distributed to everybody. Hopefully everybody got a copy of that, and I believe there are extra copies in the foyer as well. This is just it's the memo format that I've used when I've reported out to City Council and our liaisons, and it is just a list of all of the items that we've covered since July of last year. Our calendar typically runs from July through June, and so this is with our year-end review. This just includes the topics that we covered. This does not include any of the activities that we'd engaged in. I'm hoping we can kind of name some of those, and if there's any issues related to our performance throughout the year. So I want to open it up for comments from the commissioners first. So let everybody take a look at the list so you can see that. And if you have questions or concerns or issues about it, Sherry, I don't know, do we need to read the list aloud as well? We've provided copies of it, but does it need to be read aloud as well?
Yeah, the public hasn't seen this. It's not up on our agenda at this point. So
Okay.
yes, if we could read the list out loud so that the public's aware.
Okay. Do I have a volunteer that might be interested to read through the list for us? Ann? Fantastic. Thank you. She's on break. Give her a break. You're not? Oh, okay. Go ahead, Ann. Thank you.
So here we go. Funding for acquisition and maintenance of the police fleet. Review of pedestrian safety and parking enforcement. Review of AB 2147, the Freedom to Walk Act. Review of the Burbank Police Department 2023-2025 Strategic Plan. Report out and conclusion of the School Safety Ad Hoc Committee. Review of the Burbank Police Department Policy Number 464, Homeless Persons. Joint meeting with City Council. Domestic violence recent trends and Burbank Police Department responses, parentheses, an annual item concluding with Domestic Violence Awareness Month, close parentheses. Report out on the 2024 NACOLE Conference. Development and discussion of a vision and mission statement based on City Council required trainings for board and commissions. Review and update of an annual dashboard and calendar to guide the work of the commission. Review, discussion, and a public community forum on the AB 481 Annual Military Equipment Report. Review of DUI enforcement activities. Ongoing review of electric scooter and e-bike activities and enforcement. Discussion of the city's 2025 general plan and projections for the Burbank Police Department. Updated training on the Brown Act, Public Records Act, and Political Reform Act. Equity and inclusion in the Burbank Police Department recruitment, hiring, and promotional processes. Review and discussion on the Communications Center operations. Page 2 of 2. Report out and conclusion of the Pedestrian Safety Ad Hoc Subcommittee championed by Commissioner Leila Ferozian. Ongoing implementation of the Drive Right Save Lives campaign championed by Commissioner Romick Hakobian. review of the impact of narcotics on arrests, review of mental health evaluation team updates, the review of RIPA data. Additionally, police commissioners have attended a range of community activities sponsored by and in partnership with the Burbank Police Department.
And thank you for that. Mike, go ahead.
Didn't we also review,
Microphone.
from the Office of Independent Review, their report?
We did, you are correct. What I didn't include was I was looking at all of our commission agenda meetings, but I didn't look at the joint meeting that we had. So thank you for that one. So adding the OIR report. Any other topics that we may have missed that we've covered this year? Let's shift it a little bit to some of the activities that we were engaged in beyond the work of beyond the commission meetings themselves. I know that we've had members that have been actively involved in a lot of community events, and that was one of our goals this year, is to be more active and involved in community events. Do you all want to throw out what some of those events were?
Sure. I mean, we were involved in Police and Fire Day. We were involved in last year's National Night Out. I would say that, when it comes to either coffee with a cop or, ice cream with a cop, there's a lot of those engagements. And there's one Saturday coming up, yeah. So we've been pretty involved.
Mike, go ahead.
Also, the ride-alongs done by individual commission members?
The LA County homeless count, that was
Homeless count.
participated by multiple members of the commission.
Anything else jump out at folks? I know that we were involved in, we've had folks, did we have folks attend the gun buyback this year?
I did,
Romick, okay, so
Yeah.
gun buyback
and also the drug buyback,
and the drug, okay.
yeah. And also, I believe it was myself and I believe was it Commissioner McKenna attended the Community Academy and did a little presentation on the Police Commission.
And Mike, I also added the DUI checkpoint.
Right.
Yep, got that. What else you got?
Also, I attended a graduation of a new officer.
Excellent. I did get a chance to participate in the selections process for our chief. Anything else? I know a lot of us have been involved in talking about the work of the police commission outside of the specific activities. So I'm thinking, Paul, I'm thinking about your work actually along with Deputy Chief Cornelius. Deputy or Assistant Chief? It's Deputy Chief. Is it Deputy Chief?
Deputy. Yes,
Deputy
sir.
Chief Cornelius.
Adam also. That works.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. In participation in the Kiwanis meeting, are there other meetings or activities that folks were involved in where you
That's
were?
actually a very good point. During the Kiwanis Family Fun Day, the police department helped distribute, fit, and give bicycle helmets and safety equipment to children. That included helmets, elbow pads, knee pads, anything that we had that fit them. The police department was the ones who were actually making that presentation, but those were from the California, Nevada, Hawaii Children's Fund Foundation.
Thank you.
We also
Roman?
attended the, I'm not sure who was with us, but the Shop with the Cop event.
Yes,
Is it that?
yes, it was in December.
Okay. Other activities that members were involved in representing the police commission? I do want to lift up, it's on the list, but one of the things, this is something that we've been wrestling with for a few years. I think it was in February or March that we had the full discussion here. It's listed on the list. It's about the vision and mission. One of the things that I just want to lift up and I really appreciate is that we were, I know we were wrestling and we were struggling with whether we should be doing that, how we do that, what the requirements are to do that. Are we stepping on anybody's toes if we do that? But I think wrestling and going through that process really helped us as commissioners kind of learn to work with each other and kind of make sure that we're focused on kind of a unified mission of the commission. I really appreciate that, along with the work of our council as well. It's been really, really helpful through the process. It feels functional. That's what I got out of it. It feels functional, and it feels like there's a sense of kind of meaning and commitment to the work.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that from where we started, and I know there were like the stumbling blocks initially, but to where we are now, almost 4 years later, and just the level of synergy, and the fact that we're all on the same page, we understand each other, there's mutual respect, and then also, thank you to James for kind of helping us really organize that and get us to where we are today. So I think it's been something I'm definitely proud of. I love the fact that we've covered so much and we just do so much in the city.
It's definitely a team effort.
Yeah.
It's definitely a team effort. Mike, did you want to? No? Okay.
And
Paul.
I agree with Roman 100%, but I think the value of this commission is how much we're out in the community, because people talk to us.
You're on.
My
You're on.
loud's green? I'm loud enough, I gotta be closer, right? Because we're out in the community and people talk to us, and whether it be someone contacting us about traffic or a neighbor or something of that nature, I think it gives us the ability to say things to the police department, whether it be in this meeting or on the
Yep.
down low or just casually so they get handled. But, even though we do spend a lot of time together outside because we're working on things together on this, I think the fact that we're basically representing 7 different segments of our community, and that is, if every one of us knows 100 people, that's 700 people that are represented on this dais. And that, I think, is what the value of the commission is.
Thank you for that. Ann?
I would want to look forward to us, and in conjunction with the department, perhaps coming up with other ways that the community, especially kids, especially teens, can engage with police officers. Perhaps to one day become a police officer, for kids to learn more about the programs, the Explorer program, just more opportunities. Not formalized, perhaps, but, candy cane day towards the holidays, or I don't know.
I want to run with that, and I want to express my appreciation to both Chief Albanese, Captain Cremens, Adam as well, to the work that we've done this past year. One of the things that I was actually really concerned about early on this year was if we position ourselves as a commission to become too complacent with kind of cheerleading for the department. That's a piece of it. We want to lift up and support the department. But I think as members of the public, as citizens, we also have a responsibility to raise questions and concerns. And something that I just really appreciate, Adam, you've been really responsive to this year, and the chief Chief Albanese was as well, was being, you and the entire team being very open to the questions. Some of the we got deep a few times in there with questions that may not necessarily feel safe, but I think they were important to ask, and the department was responsive to addressing that. So I appreciate that.
That's the whole purpose behind, as important as bicycle helmets are to me, a child having a positive interaction with someone in a blue uniform is really right up there. I think that happens with the Shop with the Cop, and also have the Scoop with the Cop. Anytime we can get an opportunity where the children can realize that, unfortunately, our media isn't as generous as they should be or supportive, and that what they're seeing on TV is not necessarily our police department. One of my passions for this commission began when I started the Film Academy, and I heard the dean talking about being afraid of we should be afraid of the police, and I immediately went to the director of the school and said, we've got to change that perception. And because that's just not the way to introduce people to Burbank.
Appreciate that. Any other feedback on what we did this year, what we should have done this year? We have to be a little careful because this isn't an opportunity to really agendize future items, but broadly, if there's areas that you think that we probably need to go deeper on that we didn't necessarily do this year. One of the things I'd like to do, and we actually started doing it this year, is making sure that we started doing our homework. I actually didn't note that down. And one of the things I'd like to do is to make sure that we're leaning into, when we're asking for presentations on particular topics, leaning in and doing our own homework on policy. I know we even went so far as to start to pull some information from surrounding areas, and I think that's something that we can continue to do as well as individual commissioners and as a commission as a whole. Other things that folks would like to see us globally lean into.
What we can also do is, sorry to interrupt.
I'm sorry.
Also for the Community Academy, for any commissioner that hasn't attended, You know, it's a great program. It's a great way
Yeah.
to understanding the police department, but it also helps you understand your role as a commissioner. I think anyone who hasn't attended, it'd be great to encourage you to do that.
I would actually have said, Mike Chaplin, since you're involved with the Leadership Burbank, I attend Leadership Burbank, and when I attended the Community Academy, I realized there should have been at least an introduction to it as part of Leadership Burbank. When there is an involvement with the police department, but it should be something that we address the student, because that's preaching to the choir. Those are the people that want to be part of the positive in the community. And I agree with you. I said the helmets with the Family Fun Day and the Shop with a Cop, but any opportunity we can have to create an interaction, we should add to the calendar.
Okay. Mike,
National Night Out
it's coming up.
in August. We did that. That was on the list. Yeah.
Yep. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, piggyback on that, there's two things. I was thinking of the breast cancer event that was held in front of headquarters, as well as the remembrance that they have on various officers who have been killed in action. And that's actually very apropos. I see the deputy chief has a tag on tonight. It's important to remember this.
Yeah.
And our group does a good job doing that.
Sherry, would it be safe to open it up for you to get any feedback from you about how we've done this year? Have we driven you nuts?
You did fail to mention Nicole.
We did.
Did you mention it?
Yep.
Okay.
It's on the-
Yep. Thank you for that, and we appreciate what you're doing to support us all the way up until an hour before this meeting, even. So, any other feedback folks want to provide? It's a pretty comprehensive list. I'm glad we captured this. Mike, go ahead.
More of a goal, which I
Yeah.
think one
Mm-hmm.
is we've discussed our interactions with a lot of established Burbank groups. But there's a lot of people in this city who are not involved with the established groups.
Mhm.
And I think, we should try to interact and meet more of the people who don't attend meetings and don't belong to service clubs. And because in my mind, I think the people we're not talking or meeting with, it's more difficult, but there's more of them.
I think you're right. You're right. Ann, hey.
National Night Out, it might be a couple of months down the road, but they go really fast.
Comes
How
up
do we
quick.
get more people involved? How do we get more information to families to have something for their neighborhood? I don't know that process, and to me, what Mike was saying about getting more people involved, getting more information to people as to how they can get involved.
So
I
without.
think Mike has got
Yeah.
an answer
Oh, go ahead,
already.
Yeah, I'm just going back in history, before ever getting on this commission, I used to host the night out at my house. And there was, the Burbank Police Department had some volunteers who kind of coordinated the meetings, and most of it was directed at people who had already hosted events. And then there was also an opportunity to recruit new people to put on events in their neighborhood. But I'm talking probably 15 years ago. I remember some of the people. I don't think they're around anymore. I just don't know. I'll turn it over to
So you're all stealing my thunder, because that was line
Okay.
number 2 of what I was going to talk about during my announcements.
We'll
that
hold
we're
off
about a
on
month and a half out, and we're
Yeah.
going to start our advertising campaign and doing the outreach for that. The
Perfect.
main event is at Johnny Carson Park, and then we'll talk
Perfect.
about the other ones.
And then for our sake as well, because I'm on Ray's good side right now, and I want to keep it that way. We can't really talk at length about how National Night Out is organized because it's not an agenda item. Which, by the way, I think we've done a great job this past year of not getting into too much trouble with sticking to agenda. We kind of did okay, Ray.
Hey, don't mention that on the record. I actually think you guys did a great job. I think if you're looking for goals for the future, obviously I'm not trying to sway the commission in any way, but I think you guys have brought up a variety of topics, and we have presentations on them. But what I haven't seen is a whole lot of follow-up by the individual commissioners on those specific points. So, like the chair had mentioned, I think individualized homework and follow-up would be great to kind of bring back to the commission if there are any additional outstanding questions, concerns, community outreach that you want to make based off of the presentations you've heard from the Burbank Police Department. But other than that, yeah, I agree. I think the overall meetings have been going well. We've been in compliance from my perspective, and
Probably the most important part.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So yeah, overall great.
Appreciate that. All right. Any other feedback that folks wanted to share? We've got a pretty comprehensive list. I know I've been taking notes. Sherry's been taking notes as well. So we'll make sure we reflect as much of that as we can in the minutes. All right. I appreciate you all, and I appreciate the work that we're doing. We will go ahead and move on to item G2. This is general announcements it's not by Chief Quintero. It's actually going to be Deputy Chief Cornelius. Brief announcements regarding upcoming events and items of note related to the police department. Deputy Chief, welcome back.
Thank you. Chair Coombs, members of the commission, Adam Cornels, Deputy Chief. Chief Quintero is out of state right now, so you get me. Have a couple things to announce. It was briefly alluded to on Saturday. The Burbank Police Foundation is hosting a Scoop Out of Crime event at the Foster's Freeze at 201 South Glen Oaks. That'll be on Saturday, June 21st, between 6 and 8 p.m. We'll have some of our command staff, some of our officers out there, and the hook is that the first 300 customers under the age of 18 get free ice cream. So, Commissioner McKenna, under the age of 18. Also, we kind of alluded to it, National Night Out is coming up August 5th. The main event is going to be in Johnny Carson Park, but we also have all the satellite events at various neighborhoods around the city, so we're going to be starting our advertising and outreach campaign for that in the next week or two, as we're about a month and a half away and getting that organized. Also coming up for the July meeting, this is going to be a suggestion that we agendize a brief discussion on soliciting interested participants in the NACOL conference, which is going to be coming up in October in Minneapolis. So we'll need to start planning for that. So if we can identify interested participants in July, we can start making the arrangements in August and September and get you folks out there. One other item coming up regarding September is we have a potential conflict with the scheduled commission meeting date. The city's annual boards and commission dinner is scheduled for that same night of September 17th. So a couple options for you to consider is we can either cancel that meeting and put it down and just shift to October, or we can look at delaying it 1 week and going to September 24th. Ms. Nakamura would have to reach out and find out if council chambers are available that day.
If I could interject, Ray, is that something that we can work on outside of the meeting, start to talk about? Because we still have time to plan for that, and I know we don't have it agendized to work it out tonight. Is that something that would be best worked out on the side and then we can bring it back to the next meeting, or?
Yes, we can also address it at the August meeting as
Okay.
well. But ultimately, it would have to be a decision by the commission to decide on it on the next date,
Okay.
or just to cancel.
Okay.
So, however you want to work it out, if you guys decide to do it outside of a meeting, just make sure it's individualized communications with Ms. Nakamura.
Okay. I'm making some notes so we can work on agendizing that. Okay.
And just to add to that a little bit, there will probably be that will probably coincide with the OIR report somewhere in that September, October timeframe.
Right, which is also the
So-
joint meeting with city council.
Correct.
That same night, okay.
Correct.
Okay,
And that's all I have, unless the commission has any questions for me.
careful what you ask for, but thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So with that, we can jump into some of these things now in the agendizing process. So we're moving on to item H, which is introduction of agenda items for future meetings. I'd like to note a couple of different things. I'm going to bring up the my copy of the annual calendar. Give me 1 second here. Let's see. All right. So we have a number of items that are on the agenda right now that are agendized, but some of them we have dates, some of them we don't. So in July, we have, actually, before we go into that, just as a reminder, the goal is we're trying to wrap up meetings by 8 p.m. So we're trying to limit meetings to 2 hours. So we're finding that 2 to 3 agenda items per meeting is usually where we're safe. That's not necessarily including the report out from our chief. but we're thinking 2 to 3 items so we don't overfill agendas. So for July, we already have preparations for traffic safety and parking for the upcoming school year. That's already on the agenda. We have a number of things that are agendized but no dates. One of them is the update on parking enforcement, and we were talking with Deputy Chief Cornelius about that, I think, in a prior meeting. I think we were actually talking with Chief Quintero about that in a prior meeting as well. We wanted to review annual crime statistics. We also wanted to review and explore Chief Quintero's vision and priorities for the Burbank Police Department. So without having Chief Quintero here, I'm thinking that we should hold off on discussing a date for the vision and priorities for the Burbank Police Department. If I recall, Deputy Chief Cornelius, Adam, is the LAS parking, I think the new chief had some thoughts and opinions on that as well, if I recall. And so I don't know if that's something that we want to consider a date for right now.
I'm looking back through some things to try and get some dates on when they started their contract with us, so we have
Right.
a good sample size
Yeah.
to discuss.
My thinking is let's hold on that. We've got it agendized but without a date. I think we should hold on the parking piece and the vision and priorities piece to set a date for that at a later date. We do have an item of the review of annual crime statistics that we've got agendized without a date right now. We have some other things that will be coming up. I also want to acknowledge that next month will be the last meeting for this cycle of the current iteration of the commission, and then it is, I think, the night before, I think it's July 15th, is when the city council will be appointing four commission seats. So I hesitate to plan anything too far into the future. Actually, for commissioners that are continuing, totally support planning things in the future. I don't know if it's the right thing for us to do for commissioners that are in the position of potentially being reappointed, to be proactive in setting the agenda once we're potentially not on the commission. Does that make sense? So I'm a little ambivalent about doing that for us, but for the commissioners that are continuing, that would be Mike, and Ann. I think it's fair game to whatever you want to agendize beyond July. I would be comfortable in supporting. Mike, go ahead.
I think all commissioners are commissions until their term is over, and I think they should play a full-time role. And a lot of things that are important to the commissioners that are leaving should not be forgotten and should not be like, well, I don't have time to do it. It's
agree.
something, a legacy. Let's
Yep.
call it a legacy.
I agree. Well, I have one that I'll be naming in a minute, though. Go ahead.
I would like to reach out on social media. We've had invited the superintendent. We're hoping the interim superintendent will participate in the July meeting. And I would reach out on social media to parents, because even if all they do is come here and be heard, that's providing a service. I've just had people submit pictures to me of an accident that happened when school wasn't in session near Herta Middle School, but
So before we go too deep into that, we have it agendized, and so what I'm hearing you say is the goal is to really promote that
I
July
think
meeting.
if we
Okay.
promote that, it's going to take more than an
Okay.
hour.
Okay,
I guess is the bottom line, yeah.
that's the July meeting. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, one thing that I would like to, considering the last parking, is I think the community has expectations for the future school year that the parking control will be involved. And I think we should not delay it
Okay.
until school's already started.
Okay. Let me go ahead and do this. I want to take care of this right now. I'd like to, something that's on our yearly calendar that's on the dashboard is, in addition to the election of new officers, we also have preparation for the joint meeting with council and OIR. I'd like to go ahead and make a motion for the August meeting that we use an agenda item in that meeting to prepare for the joint meeting with city council and review of the OIR and preparation for the OIR report.
I'll second it.
Got a second? Do I have any discussion on that? All in favor of that item? Any opposition? No opposition, no abstentions? Any abstentions? No abstentions? Passes unanimously. So we'll add that to the August meeting. All right. What else? Mike, did you want to, we can do this in conjunction with Deputy Chief Cornelius and everything, because I'm hearing you want to get that on sooner rather than later, and I respect that. So is there hesitation or concern about it actually agendizing the contract for parking?
I would like to just narrow it down to their role in school opening, not past numbers, what their other roles are, just say how they affect the opening of school.
So to ask for clarification, on our July agendized item right now, it's preparations for traffic safety and parking for the upcoming year. Would you need does that cover to be able to talk about parking, including parking enforcement, or would you need some?
We can cover
Okay.
LAS under the umbrella of just parking.
Okay.
Yes.
But that's not necessarily going to address the parking enforcement efforts, since hiring parking enforcement contractor LAS, that's a whole separate.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah, they would be separate.
Perfect. So we'll be talking about them in two different settings, but we won't necessarily be going in depth. Okay, perfect. Okay. Paul?
Along those lines, and this is going back when I was working Traffic and Transportation Commission, we had a church that actually appealed to us because street cleaning was 8 to 10, and they had mass that got out at 8:30. And street cleaning was moved up an hour, which facilitated that. I'm thinking we may have scenarios like that around schools. So the parking enforcement and whoever's involved with that, I think that might be an issue that's going to, like I said, it's going to be an extensive issue, but that may be an
Right.
issue that comes up when parents come in and talk about the problems they have on a daily basis.
So that'll be for the agendized item then. We don't need to go in depth in it right now, but
No,
we're gonna be
not right
talking
now,
about
but I
it
was
at that
saying we
meeting.
should
Okay,
include it.
Perfect.
With the parking, that's where parking would come into play.
Okay. Sounds good. Any other agenda items for, Mike, go ahead.
Two things. One is I don't know if this is just automatic out of the charter. Do we need to agendize our elections for our board?
I think we need, yeah. So.
I believe
they're on there.
it's on August. Do we want to move that to
It's-
July?
it's on-
'Cause it's going to be the day after the appointments.
Oh,
That's
We
a great
could-
idea.
would moving that ahead, normally that's set in August because the appointments are happening in July. We will know at the next commission meeting.
It can't be in July because the new appointees won't be in place yet.
Won't be fully in process.
You're right, yes.
That's right, okay.
Gotta wait, never mind. All right. So we have to hold, but you can agendize that for August now if you'd like to. Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
I move that we agendize the elections for the board of the commission for August.
August, do I have a second? Romick seconds, all in favor, say aye. Any opposition? Any abstentions? Okay, so we're on for August for that formally. So we have two agenda items for August right now, which are things that just come right off of the dashboard. For July, the only thing on the dashboard is the school bike traffic safety, which we already have agendized. Do we have any other, actually, we still have the future agendized and we have some space. Do we want to consider the review of the annual crime statistics at the July meeting? Would that be too soon?
No,
Okay.
we can do that.
Okay.
The crime numbers are published, and so we can
Okay.
come up with a review in a month.
Okay, so
That works because if we run long, we can move it.
Right.
We can push it down a month. My thought, though, is that, and I guess this is what I was alluding to a couple minutes ago, I think we should have some degree of parking enforcement at that meeting as well.
it's already on because
Okay.
it's already, so I'm going to repeat it again. The July agendized item right now is preparations for traffic safety and parking for the upcoming school year.
Okay.
Awesome. So I'd like to go ahead and motion that for the July meeting, we also add a review of annual crime statistics. Can I get a second? I'll take Mike Ellman. Or any comment on that item? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Okay, so that passes unanimously as well. So that will be covered in July. So we have, if I'm reading this correctly, we have two agenda items for July, two agenda items for August. Oh, wait, hold on. Yep. There we go. We got two agenda items for July, two agenda items for August. Are there any other agenda items that folks are looking at? Let's start with for July. Romick, go ahead.
Thank you, James. So question for the Deputy Chief's report in regards to the NACOL participation selection process, you would have to agendize that?
You're going to talk about who's going to attend, who might be
Okay.
interested.
Okay,
and you
great.
can make your selection at the next meeting.
Wonderful. Okay, so I would like to agenda the conversation about
Okay.
the NACOL participation selection process.
So I have a motion to agendize the NACOL participation selection process in July. Do I have a
July.
second? Paul. I'll take a second from Paul. All in favor, say aye. Any opposition? Any abstentions? All right, that's unanimous as well. So 3 items for July. Mike?
Yeah, Ann mentioned earlier that she was at a protest, and we've had quite a few protests in the last couple of weeks. And I wonder if we couldn't get a brief overview of our department's role and interaction in both in our Burbank community and outside of it. And when they're invited to participate outside, what their role is there.
So role and interaction in public protests.
And we might also consider, I have a question about our jail facilities, if they're leased out to any particular groups that might be participating in some of the social changes going on.
So I'm gonna break those down a little bit. I think getting a presentation and discussion on the role and interaction in public protests. This actually follows. You did a presentation on this. I think it was last fall. There was a recommendation made both here and to the city council for a change in, was it municipal code
Yes.
that we changed? Yes. About what can be taken to protests and everything like that. So Mike, with what you're recommending, I support that idea. The use of, let's break these apart real quick if we can. Let's go ahead. So Mike, you're making a motion to for a presentation and discussion on the role and interactions in public protests by the Burbank Police Department?
Yes, both in Burbank and outside.
Inside and outside of Burbank. Okay. So that's the motion. Do I have a second for that? I have a second from, I'll take it from Ann, if that's okay. I was going to second from Ann. Brief discussion on clarifying the motion, Mike?
I would like to include a discussion of the history of protests and what the police role has been or not been.
Okay.
So, I mean, if there's been situations outside of Burbank and there was no involvement, I'd like to hear that we were not involved rather than we were involved.
Can I ask for that to get narrowed down? Can you give me a time frame and maybe specific to Burbank PD?
Back to the 60s?
Only,
I don't know
yeah,
how far
only
you.
Burbank PD, and I would say, let's just go back 5 years.
To 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
Mike, would that include mutual aid requests?
Yes, and, just as the detail, I mean, it was mutual aid. Did we go or did we not go?
Okay.
I mean, how many requests do we get and I guess that's it. How many times are we asked?
So that's feeling pretty clear and pretty specific. So I'm kind of liking that agenda item. My concern is we haven't named when. We currently have 3 agenda items for July. One of them, the NACOL item, pretty light, so I'm not too concerned about that one, but I am concerned about overpacking agendas as well, so I want us to be careful of that. When would we want to do this presentation and discussion? Mike, do you have a recommendation?
I'm thinking it's kind of a timely subject, but I'm not expecting a 2-hour in-depth discussion about it. I'm wondering if that could be in July and still stay under our time limit.
I don't think so. To be honest, with 3 items already to do that in July, and it's going to be there's going to be a lot of discussion behind that topic. I don't think you're going to make that in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're 4 months out then?
Well,
I would say October would be
Things may
good.
have passed by then.
we've got, so we've got the 3 items for July. It feels pretty good right there. August, right now, we're looking at election of new officers and then preparation for the joint meeting with council and OIR. It seems like we might be able to include that in the August meeting. That doesn't seem
I think we could, we can get it done for August.
Okay, so the recommendation for that item for August, so I have a motion, I have a second. We've had some discussion on it to work that out. Any other discussion or thoughts on the agenda item itself?
Do we need to That's a joint meeting, right?
No, the joint meeting's going to be probably in September, but I don't know if we have the date yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So we've a motion and a second for that agenda item for August. All right, so all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Any abstentions? Okay, looking forward to that one as well. Perfect. All right, so we're pretty booked for July, we're booked for August. Are there any other agenda items? Romik, did you have another agenda item that you wanted to add right now? You're good? Okay, Mike?
I have more of a point of order.
Sure.
In all our training and for organization of this commission, we discussed ad hoc committees.
Yep.
And I appreciate Paul and excuse me, brain fade at the moment. But you're an ad hoc committee, and how long have you been in existence?
We technically.
We're
No,
not,
well, we're not, though.
No longer.
And that's something that I don't think we should be reporting on, just because we're meeting the superintendent as citizens, not as police commissioners.
Yeah, I believe that item actually sunsetted.
Yeah, we sunsetted that a while back.
Yeah, I just need clarification, because sometimes we act as part of an ad hoc, and other times we're citizens. And it's a very gray area. It's hard to tell which hat you're wearing at the time.
I believe it was when you, I think, well, it was one of you, suggested that ad hoc committees should have a short term, a beginning.
Correct.
What are your goals? Did you meet them? Bada bing, disbanded. And that was kind of disbanded, the technical subcommittee. This is just trying to keep up with, and unfortunately, there have been numerous changes outside of our scope.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an item up in the air.
But is the superintendent under the impression he's meeting with police commissioners, or he's just meeting
No,
with
no, the
private citizens?
I don't think
the
there's-
conversation's always been as citizens, even the email threads have indicated that it is private citizens, not as police commissioners.
And there has not been any follow-up with the new, other than a suggestion of a meeting to bring them up to speed on the pamphlet that Mr. Hakopian has, and how to get that distributed to students who drive.
I appreciate you bringing up the question, though.
Yeah, it's about if we're going to have a set of rules, we have to be very clear
I agree.
on the following of the rules.
I agree. Paul, did you want to?
I would think it's something along the lines of the police department's social media, because right now, I hope I'm getting everything, but I think it's very well done. And I think that we, maybe by having Sim here, we could let the community know a little more about it.
So you're recommending an agenda item of exploring presentation and recommendations on the social media presence of the Burbank
A
Police Department?
presentation to allow the public to know the many ways that the police department is keeping them abreast to what's going on. The posts that were out this weekend, or last week, about the protests, about where our officers were, some of the questions you answered were answered on social media. Somebody come up here and said we should display cars that have been towed, and that gets done on social media. So I think there are a lot of good things the police department is doing, that we just need to get the word out to the community a little more so that they can know that.
So for clarification, if we don't need to, like, for example, if the deputy chief is including, or the chief is including in their report, just a reporting out on the work of social media, they can include that in their report, in a future meeting report. We don't, but if we want to be involved in discussing it or making recommendations, then we need to agendize it. So are you recommending just that we get more information from the department, or is that something that you'd like to explore further as a commission?
To be frank with you, I think talking to us is preaching to the choir. I would like
Okay.
to have it put out there so that the citizens of Burbank that do look back on this would know the different opportunities that maybe they're not taking advantage of. So a brief presentation.
So presentation and discussion.
Discussion is not necessarily what I was looking for, but a brief presentation.
Right. So if it's just a presentation, that's something that we can get a report out on
Okay.
in the chief or the deputy chief's report. But if we want to respond to it and have a discussion about it, then we need to agendize
Well, I
that.
guess board members may have recommendations,
Okay.
so that'd be appropriate, I understand.
Okay, so I'm hearing a motion to.
So you drew that out of me.
So I'm here, a motion to present, presentation and discussion on the
Very social media opportunities.
various social media opportunities that the department currently uses. Okay, and then do I have a second? Actually, we won't even put a date on that yet. Do I have a second on that? Romick, you kind of have to second that one, because that's kind of like in your wheelhouse.
I would say that, obviously I don't want to get into discussion in regards to this. I mean, if there was structure around it in regards to the function of the social media, what social media channels are being used, in that realm, there has been a drastic change in social media. There's a lot more activity. There's a lot more great content. So if we're talking about that structure and how the process has been and the person responsible for that, that I can support, but I'm not really clear on.
So what I'm hearing is an agenda item on the presentation and discussion of the social media presence of the Burbank Police Department.
But it feels so broad.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And I wouldn't want to do that to the department.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So is there a second to that motion?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, is if there's I don't have a second from Romick. Do I have a second from anybody else?
I have a concern.
Well, we can't discuss it
We
right now.
can't discuss.
Yeah, so what,
Seconds, we can discuss it.
you can second it, or you don't second it, and then we can
Not second.
table it? Okay. So I'm going to recommend that we not pursue that, but that might be something that can be explored on the side for a future agenda item. But we are pretty booked for July and August at this point. Are there any other agenda items that folks want to add for either future agenda items or with specific dates on them? Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out item H, and we're going to move on to item I, which is the next meeting date. Our next meeting is Wednesday, July 16th, 2025, right here in City Council chambers. And with that, I adjourn this meeting. Thank you all. 50 minutes.